Hello and welcome to Lore of the Cards, the series that looks to find the lore hidden in your Hearthstone deck. Feels like such a long time since I last said that, and damn it feels good. So in case you hadn't guessed, I didn't get to review all the Un'Goro cards before release, due to a move. But I'm not stopping where we were before. I'm going to summarise all that Un'Goro lore. Today, let's finish the neutral commons that we didn't get to in previous episodes, starting with the Emerald Reaver. The Reaver is a Silithid, an insectoid race found upon the slithering scar that covers much of southern Un'Goro. This is only a medium-sized Silithid hive, even though it spans most of the crater's southern end, and it plays host to the Qiraji sect of Silithid. Generally speaking, Silithid are loyal to the Qiraji, who are in turn loyal to the old god Cthulhu. Silithid come in varying sizes and shapes, thought to be dictated by how long they spend in their eggs when first developing. Reavers are the hive's primary defenders and attack troops. Anatomically similar to the wasp variety, the Reaver's wings are underdeveloped and do not allow for flight. Reavers can grow relatively large in size and will rare mount drops within the Qiraji raids in vanilla World of Warcraft. Why several Silithid are emerald in Un'Goro, I'm not sure. This could relate back to the Un'Goro power crystals, as one of the varieties is green, but the slithering scar is devoid of both power crystals and a pylon, the absence of which possibly explains the Silithid's presence in Un'Goro. Furthermore, the two crystal types that flank the Qiraji are red and blue. The Emerald Silithid bear the same yellow colour as many of the Qiraji, but perhaps they come from a completely different undiscovered nest. The Ravasaur are large raptor-like dinosaurs native to Un'Goro. Once led by Horley, meaning sharp claw in the Tauran tongue, they are now led by Queen Zavra. Young Ravasaur, like the Runt, grow very quickly and start out larger than raptor young. Females attract a mate by secreting what to others is a repugnant smell from glands in their heads. The Venomhide variety of Ravasaur is extremely deadly, having poisonous blood, spit, and skin. Now that I'm a little clearer on their lore, I'll use the Rockpool Hunter to correct some things I said in previous episodes about the Primal Fin Murlocs. They are a friendly group of Murlocs, a rarity, that make their home upon the back of a Megasaur, which is led around by the gargantuan Megafin. Snails can be found throughout all of Azeroth, and while most of the time they are small, some varieties can grow huge. The Gastropod are a giant variety of hostile snail found in the Throne of Thunder raid. While the Gastropods were only trash mobs, they were particularly deadly, earning the title Looking for Raid Destroyers. Anyone caught in the Gastropod's path would be killed instantly. The Volatile Elemental is not found in WoW, but from the looks of the art on its card, it's clearly an air elemental. This means that up until the Cataclysm expansion, this elemental would have served Alakir, but now serves Thunderan after Alakir's death. Volatile elements were materials used in a number of crafting recipes during the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. The Eggnapper continues to inform us of the new race added to Un'Goro, the Tortolan. This hints that the turtles may eat raptor eggs as part of their diet, though the card description insists this turtle is about to use these eggs as pillows. The Giant Wasp depicts the wasp variety of Silithid, though admittedly far more spiny than your average Silithid wasp. This extremely aggressive type of Silithid acts as a hive's mobile assault unit. While Reavers are strong hive defenders, their mobility pales when compared to that of the wasp. The wasps, which often attack in swarms, will gladly sacrifice themselves in order to bring down a foe. Princess Huhuran is a Silithid wasp. The Igneous Elemental is yet another appearance for a fire elemental. These were elementals once led by Ragnaros and now by Smolderon. The Pterrordax Hatching is a rare vanity pet that can be found through the archaeology profession in WoW. It can be obtained through collecting fossil artifact fragments. Pterrordaxes lay their eggs underneath the fossils of their ancestors to allow their hatchlings to absorb their elders' ferocity and cunning. The Fire Plume Phoenix is clearly connected to the volcano Fire Plume Ridge at Un'Goro's centre, though in WoW there are no phoenixes in Un'Goro, but one is referenced. During a questline with the mighty knight Maximilian of Northshire, who has granted you the honour of being his squire, the knight informs you there are several damsels to be saved. One lady needs her purse recovered from a lake, one needs saving from a cliff and totally isn't thrown to her death by Maximilian expecting his squire to catch her, despite the fact the squire was standing right next to him. The final damsel in great distress is attacked by a mighty phoenix, which actually turns out to be a parrot. Maximilian slays the parrot, which is actually the damsel's pet. See why I thought this guy should be a legendary? Rocks come in varying shapes and sizes in World of Warcraft, from carrion birds like the greater roc, so named for their diet and bald heads, which make sure their feathers don't get matted while feeding. Rocks can also be birds of prey like the Gortalan rocs, or giant birds like the Fleshrender roc, which look similar in appearance to dread ravens found on the orcish world of Draenor. Two-headed rocs like the one in Hearthstone are extremely rare. But there is also one in WoW, a rare mob called Emberwing, which used to have a carrion bird model. Saber-toothed tigers do not specifically exist in WoW, though many tiger varieties do have canines similar to the size of a saber-toothed tiger's fangs. In fact, it was not until the Mists of Pandaria expansion that tigers more similar to those of our world were introduced to World of Warcraft. The Thresher Don is an aquatic dinosaur found all over Azeroth. In fact, there seems to be a lot of their corpses in the WoW version of Un'Goro. This may be because a Threshodon's meat is allegedly pretty tasty. They also produce other helpful resources, ambergris and an oil that was once used to fuel the lighthouse of the town of Theramore. There is no particular connection between Murlocs and Threshodons, though the Threshodon Old Serikis did share his home with several Murlocs in the Black Fathom Deeps dungeon. That was until the Twilight's hammer came, killing many of the Murlocs. Many other creatures in Serikis' home were hunted for food by the hammer, but no matter how hard they tried, the hammer never caught Serikis, and those that tried too hard ended up dead. Serikis was driven from its home by the Guardian of the Deep. The Stormwatcher is a giant air elemental created by the Hearthstone team. It is similar in appearance to many of the WoW air elementals, but much bigger, as the ones in WoW tend to be closer in size to the playable races, and the Stormwatcher dwarfs trees. Mammoths have existed in WoW since the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, and were used as mounts by the ice giants, the Sons of Hodir, and could also be obtained by players too. The placid mammals form strong bonds with their riders, making them fearless in the face of battle. It is mused that mammoths may have been the first ever animals to be domesticated as mounts in Azeroth. Ancient manuscripts depicting merchants travelling the lands of Northrend upon the backs of these giant beasts. Mastodons in our world were prehistoric relatives of the elephant, which is probably why this card has been introduced into Hearthstone with Un'Goro, a prehistoric themed expansion. In WoW, there are currently no mastodons in the game, and I talked about mammoths since the art looks similar to one, more so than what a real life mastodon looks like. Now perhaps the most disappointing card for lore of the commons is the Ultrasaur. There is none. Stats wise, one of the most powerful minions in the game has no lore. There was a dinosaur that existed on Earth called the Ultrasaurus though, and like the Hearthstone card, it had a long neck. Unlikely it grew a mini forest on its back though. So, there you have it. A quick lore summary on each of the common cards we hadn't covered in the Un'Goro set. Join me next time for the rares and epics we haven't looked at yet. If you could also like, share and subscribe, that would be freaking awesome. If you enjoyed the art, I've done my best to credit the artists in the description below. And if you want to keep up to date with Six Gamers, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Until next time, happy Hearthstoning.
Because I'm sitting on